I've either sold or had people sell against me and really clean my clock. So here's what we're going to cover in our last session this afternoon. What is the definition of a promotion? What is the purpose? Oh, look at this. Audience versus forget the audience, maybe. The revenue, the purpose for the client. Are those in the right order? Okay. Disaster preparedness, because if it can't go wrong, it will. What is real value? Survey says more stuff no one ever talks about is in promotions. So promotion, if you look up in the dictionary what it does, and we get all these dictionary definitions, I like this one. Stimulate sales for reasons other than the product's inherent benefits. In other words, folks, we are looking at doing something to help a client do better, but another way to say that is it's extra value. And unfortunately with extra value, I have a little bit of a problem with this because we don't value our own product enough that we think we have to give something away to just get people to participate and listen to us and, you know, run their advertising with us. And I stand on the fact that in years past we ran fewer commercials, we were more professional, we paid a little bit more attention to it over the air, and as such, we valued our stuff more than we do now. Audience engagement. We wanted to tune in. We want to introduce our audience to sponsors. We are a big party. In fact, we're the host of this big party. In-person events, there are online actions that we want them to take too. Any of these things that we're looking to do with a promotion fall under audience engagement. Hey, revenue. Come on in, it's okay. I just like my tie. Okay. You know, sometimes we have, is anybody here from public broadcasting? Okay. Because, you know, public broadcasting, anybody watch Antiques Roadshow besides me?
Oh, I do, I love it.
And I get really sick of all the stuff that I used to have when I was a kid that I just gave away that's now worth thousands and thousands of dollars. I ask you to pay attention to that because we don't realize sometimes how much money public broadcasting takes out of the market. Because these underwriting messages, man, if they aren't real close to being a commercial, I don't know what is. A good promotion is introduced as part of a solution that came from a customer needs analysis based again upon because you said. It's not something to go out and pitch to anyone and everyone. Yeah, well, you know, we got this great Christmas promotion. What makes it great? Is it good for everybody? One size doesn't fit all. Sir, would you stand up, please? Clayton? Okay. Okay, good. Clayton, you stay right there. Now, you will notice that there's somewhat of a height differential right here. If Clayton were to try to wear my pants, he'd have a pair of Bermuda shorts, okay? If I were to try to wear his pants, I'd have enough material left over for a cape. One size doesn't fit all. But by golly, we're going to get this one package out. We're going to go sell it to everybody because it's good for everybody. No, it isn't. Thank you very much. Give Clayton a round of applause. All right. So, what are some ingredients of successful, simultaneous revenue and audience growth promotions? Details. Details, details, details. We need to talk about audience apathy. Do they really care about what we're doing? We need to talk about programming, how sometimes they believe that the purity of programming should top making revenue. So I'm going to go right out and say this right now. If there's anybody here in programming, I apologize, but not much. There is one purpose for programming, and one only. The purpose is to garner more audience people that will be better impacted by our advertisers' commercials, the better for them to use the products and services, causing people to buy more advertising to grow the revenue of the station. Now that's harsh, okay? But I gotta tell you something. Think about this. Why do we get rid of the programming that we have? Because nobody's listening, and if nobody's listening, then we can't sell the advertising. So if programming is not on board with the fact that the most important thing they can do is to keep the audience listening or viewing for longer periods of time, to better be impacted by our advertisers' commercials, then we need to have a conversation. We need to have a strong conversation. Sales pressure, I don't suppose anybody has any sales pressure in this room. Yeah. I'm not going to make the note, I'm $30,000 away from budget. Today is the 23rd, that's ugly. And a team cohesion. Because, unfortunately, too many broadcast properties, sales and programming are on opposite sides of the fence. And don't even get me started on sales versus traffic. When you say traffic, there should be this, because we know the traffic actually runs the broadcast property, right? Sales and programming may be the head, but the traffic program is the sphincter. Some of you got that, some of you didn't. I know it's late. All right. Details, details, details. We all remember WKR. In fact, there was a guy last night had his shirt on. I thought the turkeys could fly.
Yeah.
We've got to make sure that when we do a promotion, all our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted, okay? And that means disaster preparedness. You have one of the best state broadcast associations, and I don't just say this because they brought me back. I've known Bob for a long time. Bob is a broadcaster. Some of these state broadcast associations are run by people that wouldn't know how to flip a switch on a board, okay? So, if you're going to do a promotion, never hurts to just check out the legalities to make sure that you're not, doing something that might be considered a lottery or something like that. Brainstorm what could go wrong. I didn't think about that, said somebody who is now, years ago there was a company who shall graciously remain nameless that had a contest where you had to keep your hand on a car. And the last person on the hand on the car won the car. Well, they didn't think about people not taking their hands off the car to go get a drink. And what happened? Somebody actually died. They dehydrated and died. Okay, they didn't think about that. This does make me a little nervous, okay, because there are alternatives to store registration boxes. My personal experience with this was we were working with, I don't know if you guys have 7-Eleven, okay, they're convenience stores. We did a big promotion with them. We had boxes in all their stores. And I was, the last day we went to pick up the boxes, and a box from one store was missing. It's like, we looked all over for it, we can't find it. Okay, we drew the winner, and the day after we drew the winner, a guy who went to that store all the time comes in, because he found the registration box in the dumpster. So basically, we had a contest where we said everybody was registered, and they weren't. So we really lucked out. I mean, we gave the guy some ticket stuff, coming concert stuff, and he was cool about it. But I never did registration boxes after that. I would get up the little, print out your postcards, and I would have people go to the store where you could pick up your postcard and send it to us. And some clients don't like that, but you know what? If there's boxes, you got to be careful in the boxes. How many people's day did I just ruin with that? Okay, it's true. It happens. Koozies and bungees. Didn't think about this, but we were doing a concert and we were throwing koozies out, and somebody claimed that we hit them with a koozie, and they were going to sue the station, and the insurance company was going to pay off. And I brought the insurance company down and I said, "Here, you stand up against the wall." And we got the entire team and we just threw koozies at him. A true story. And he said, "Oh, I guess that really wasn't that bad." But people will sue you at the drop of a hat. Anybody remember when bungee jumping was big? Okay. There was a young lady who went to bungee jump and she lied about her weight. And as such, they put her in a different harness and she came all the way down and she actually hit her head. Now luckily, she had been drinking all night long and she didn't even know about it. My owner was in town and just came up to me and just said, "You ever do that again, you're fired." Okay? So you got to be careful, because I didn't think people would lie about their weight when they were bungee jumping. It was one of the things I didn't pay attention to. If you want, I'll send this to you. It is the pre-promotions checklist. And it just has a bunch of things in here about, okay, do we really want to do this? And you don't have to take a picture of this. Like I say, if you want it, give me your card, I'll make sure you get it. But do we really want to do this? And if so, why? Do we move ahead, yes or no? Okay? And it might be that you don't want to do this now, but 6 months down the road, it might be something to revisit, but at least it gives you some things to consider before you do a promotion. Audience apathy. Nobody really cares. You're giving away a colonoscopy. You know what? If you're on an older skewing station, I gotta tell you something, $2,500 out of your own pocket, I wouldn't mind that colonoscopy thing given away. We used to laugh about that. You don't want to give that away to CHR or on a CW station, but on an older skewing station, Doc McGillicuddy might have a pretty good opportunity right there. What do we really know, and how can we learn more about our audience? I don't know how long it's been since you've done a focus group, but if any of you are in an area where there's a college, you have a built-in, I mean, we do them. I would love to come to a focus group for you, but you know what? I believe in you saving money when you can. Go to the college. Don't go to the broadcast side of things. They'll screw it up. Go to the business side of things and tell them you want to put together a focus group to find out more about the people who tune into you. And you're going to have questions to ask them. Community colleges are great for this, and the kids actually get to do something that's worthwhile so they can put that on a resume. We all became masters of Zoom. Okay, you can do great focus groups on Zoom because you got everybody all right there. They don't have to come to a place, because if you do an in-person meeting, you know, you're going to have to feed them, you're going to have to pay some money to have them show up. It's okay. You mean put money back into the station? What a concept. Yeah, I do. Surveys. You can send out surveys. A lot of you, one of the things that you might be surveying your people right now is, do you plan to vote in the upcoming election? What kind of things are you interested in seeing? What kind of new laws or are you interested in seeing going forward? Because that is empirical evidence that you can take to your state party chair or to the guy who's running for dog catcher. Again, making sure that legally you have the permission to share that information. People will fill out surveys, but you gotta be careful. 3 or 4 questions maximum. What might we ask our audience? Oh, our potential buyers. Look at that, I actually remembered to do that last night. To keep you listening or viewing longer, what should we do or stop doing? Now this is ugly, because you love the drive at 5, and you think this is great, or to get the lead out, or the Barney Bean show where he's talking to the kids and playing cartoons. But your opinion doesn't matter as much as the potential buyers that you're reaching. And sometimes if you ask them, they'll tell you things, and you've got to be prepared to love your critics. You've got to be prepared to love your critics. I think we make a terrible mistake here. We give stuff away and we don't ask what people would like to win. What would you like to win in the $1 to $99 category, the $100 to $4.99 category? Last year would have been very different. You ask people today, I'm going to bet a lot of people would love to win gasoline. Okay? Or bacon. Bacon used to be like, $3 a pound, and now it's like over $7.50. Ladies, if you ever come up with a bacon perfume, you will be rich and well loved. Okay? So, isn't this cool? Because if you did that, then you could do a promotion. Ladies and gentlemen, here at WMDL, we asked, you told us what you wanted to win. You wanted to win gasoline. So guess what? In the next few weeks, we're going to be giving away $100, $200, $500, $1,000 worth of gasoline. You asked for it and you got it. Wow. They paid attention to me. They asked my opinion. I gave it to them. They responded. Now, you want to get grown and loved by the people out there that you want to reach in your community? That's a great way to do it. What kind of winners would you like to see? One big winner? Maybe a few winners? Maybe lots of smaller winners. And I come from the background that, years ago, you gave away like the big prize, the car, the trip, whatever. And then one day somebody said to me, was that the thing we gave it away? And I said, yeah, one guy won something, the rest of us didn't win diddly squat. Ooh, that kind of caused me to think things differently. And I started thinking, would I rather have one person raving about the station, or would I rather have 100? So we started doing more smaller prizes more often. And today, so many broadcast properties don't give away anything. That colonoscopy looks better and better. How would you like to participate? Do you want to watch? Do you want to listen? Do you want to enter online? Do you want to enter in store? Do you want to write in? Here's our gas promotion right now, and you said you wanted to be able to enter online, so you can enter online at the station, or you can enter online at Shell Oil, because you wanted it, because you said. I get nervous about this. I still hear stations talking about text-to-win stuff. And my wife and my son are attorneys, and I hope that one day they're going to get a call. Say, you know what? We were texting to win, or someone else was texting to win for this station, and they hit me. Because that is a slam dunk, big money case. If you are saying text to win, television is a little bit different. In theory, they're not driving if they're texting to win on television. Radio makes me really nervous about that.
Could that be anything other than, something other than winning something? Could it be just text us for your opinion?
I'm in the car. I'm texting in the car. I get real nervous about that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying you need to think about the ramifications that you told somebody to text, and you can come out and say, and remember, if you're texting, don't drive and text. Yeah, but you said to text first. And I don't know how that would play out in court, but I would definitely talk to my station attorney about that. Remember, these are one of these things that nobody talks about. What time of day should you contest? I don't know why, but in many cases in broadcasting, we might as well turn off the lights after 8 o'clock at night. We don't do anything for those people. That's such a shame. Those people represent a tremendous amount of buying power. Second shift prime and third shift prime, not evenings and overnights, but will we contest for them? Heavens no. And you know what? They spend, if you look at your average core hours, they spend a ton of time there. In television, your early morning, like your 4 to 7 a.m., think about the amount of hours that people spend with you on that. We never contest during that time because it's not prime time. I can tell you, I can name station after station after station that won the ratings war because they decided that it would contest after prime time. They would even contest on the weekend. In Dallas, where I live, there's a station called The Wolf, 99.5 The Wolf. And they contest, they get especially tickets. On the weekend, Sundays, Sunday at 8 p.m., you can win tickets to like major country acts. Wow. If we don't contest when we know that we have viewers and listeners, I just ask you, how much value are you putting those people? And then if they go away, basically they've gone away because you haven't paid attention to them. You know what, in this business, if you don't pay attention to them, somebody else will. To encourage your friends and family to try us, what should we do or stop doing? Because people know other people, and we tend to hang out with people that are more like ourselves that are different from ourselves. So if I'm watching, NCIS, what could I do? Who else do I know that may not be watching NCIS that I could say, well, if you did this, I bet I could get my brother-in-law to watch it. Why might you want those lottery tickets? Well, you've seen what you've done in this room for lottery tickets, okay? This is a great thing. These are like your small secondary prizes. Hey, you're now registered to win, the $1,000 of gasoline, and here's 10 chances to be a millionaire. The lottery ticket, it's the chance. You're giving something away, and it sounds big. I got a buddy of mine that every year gives away 1,000 chances to be a millionaire. And as you register, it gives you 10, but the grand prize winner gets 1,000. I can't remember what the lottery was. It Super Lotto or whatever it is. Pretty cool. Sizzle when you meet. Oh my gosh, does this make me mad? Huey Lewis came to town, and I like Huey Lewis, okay? A good show. And there was a station there, and so they were set up, and I went over to see what was going on, because I'm innately curious. And I said, wait, what do you guys got going on? Nothing. They had a tent. They had no swag. I said, you registering for anything, anybody? No, we're just here. I said, why? Why would you even freaking bother to show up if you're going to be in a place where there's at least 15,000 people who came to hear something that you play a lot on your stations and you're just going to be there? No, I'd rather not go. If you're going to go there, show up and show off or don't go. Man, he's really getting fired up now. Yes, I am. Okay? I am. Because, station vehicles. I'm sorry. We have one vehicle and it's got 4 logos on it. You see this van right here? It's ugly. It is butt ugly. Pardon my French, but it's all right. It's late in the day. I can be honest with you guys. So we had this van, and we had an oldie station. And it's like, what are we going to do with this thing? It was just this big yellow beast. And I'm driving it home, and I'm talking to my wife, and I said, it was here when she said, what's the van like? I said, it's like a big yellow submarine. Oh my goodness. We went to the joint vocational school. We said, how would you guys like to be famous and make us a yellow submarine? This cost me $260 and 6 pizzas. And I will tell you that never underestimate the power of gaudiness. And even had a little periscope. We used to put the periscope in. I wanted it to fire torpedoes, but they wouldn't let me do it. That thing showed up. People knew we were there. It wasn't 4 logos. Well, Mark, you don't understand our station. We can't get. I get it. I do get it. But man, maybe just even some signage or something like that. So when you show up for the country station, it looks like the country station. When you show up for the top 40 station, it looks like that. Or if you do, anybody here do television remotes? Real popular in Ohio. The weather guy up there. The weather guy makes a killing being the personality at the television remotes. Programming purity. Okay, this is it. And I've gone into a lot of organizations when I've said this, that if I'd have turned the ignition on the car after that afternoon, I'd have gone boom. But that's why programming exists. And that's why you see people change programming. In New York City no longer has a country radio station as of yesterday at 1 o'clock. Odyssey changed it, okay? Because they didn't feel they were getting enough advertising for the money. It wasn't they weren't getting listeners, they weren't getting the advertising dollars. The circle of life, okay? Broadcasting circle of life. Audience buys from advertisers. That leads to more advertising sales, which grows station promotion, which we reinvest in the promotion to engage the audience all over again. I am just appalled. I go on lots of calls. When I go into your town, if you bring me in, I will tire your salespeople out. Okay? And what I hear is, well, why don't you do as much broadcasting as you used to? Well, broadcasters don't do things to engage me or engage people who might be impacted by my commercials like they used to. They don't give anything away. They got commercials and commercials and commercials within the hour. So no, I don't spend money with them anymore. Broadcast germane and relatable programming to captivate and maintain your audience engagement. You're doing digital, then do digital the right way too. Okay? And it doesn't take much. If you've surveyed your audience to find out what they want and you're going to give it to them in as many different touch points as you can. There are some great sources out here. Real meat or filler copies. Some of you may remember George Carlin. George Carlin did a lot of cool stuff about advertising. Well, he put together this thing where you would take your ad copy and put it in, and it would tell you if it was real meat or filler. But when George died, Tom got it. He got the rights to it, and this is free. Anything you're doing, whether it's a station promo, whether it's advertising, and this is really good for clients who like to write their own copy. Yeah, they do. Yes, they do. And so you're in there, and it's like, look, before we put this on the air, let's go to this website, let's put it in here, and let's see what the website says about this. Emotional Marketing Value Headline Analyzer. Subjectline.com rates email subject lines. RAB offers copy ideas. Wikicopy.com offers copy ideas. And some of these things, they're Wikicopy, by the way, your radio or television doesn't matter, you can use it. And some of them aren't all that great, okay? But you know what? They can be thought starters. And all of these things here are free. The litmus test. Is it good for the majority of our audience? Yes, then monetize it. If it's not good for the majority of our audience, it's a small segment of our audience, then perhaps we shouldn't do it. Reframe your value. Every commercial availability and every audience member has value. And sometimes we have to demonstrate that value. Second shift prime, third shift prime, as opposed to evenings and overnights. And television, you can use third shift prime. Because man, there are people coming home at midnight from the, they worked until 10:30, 11 o'clock. What are they going to do? They're going to flip on the TV. Pictures. Evenings and overnights become second shift prime and third shift prime. Daytime and late night. Okay, Drac. There should have been a picture there. Sometimes you go by if you're in television, go drive by some of the affluent neighborhoods and see how many cars are still in the driveway early in the morning. Take pictures of that. What are they doing? They're home watching television, you can say. Your clients can't afford to miss any potential buyers. This is so true. Because, you know what? They don't know who, as a viewer or a listener from a non-prime day part, might buy something if they were invited to. You can't afford to let your clients let money go to online giants and retailers because you didn't suggest that they invest some money in these lesser demand day parts. That's your fault if you let that happen. Okay, the total of all this is $7,500, but if you sign today, it's only $495. You know what that is? That's bourgeois. But we do this all the time. And you know what, folks? People don't believe it. So what is the real value on this? Work on creating what real value is and then use it. And I'm not saying you can't say that it's, has some extra value. It does. But we got to quit lying to people. And that was not a fake. I know of at least, station I worked at long ago. $7,500 is just for $495. And he said, would you buy a Cadillac or a Mercedes Benz that is generally $65,000, but you can buy it for $4,000? Not unless it was wrecked or something, and bourgeois. Make it real. I see this too, where people put more value on the promos than on the commercials. Should the client get more mentions than commercials? Well, that's a judgment call, but if we believe that commercials are the most valuable thing that we can bring to the table, I suggest to you the commercials should be the most valuable thing of what we put into the promotion. You turn on some stations and it's like all they do is promotion, and the airwaves are so cluttered up that you can't tell one promotion from another. So a couple of things that you might consider. Written policy. We had people just demanding promotions all the time. And my wife, the attorney, said, well, Mark, why don't you create station policy? X amount of promos for Y invested per week. Because we knew if we got heavier buys in the week, we had better chances of clients succeeding, right? Okay, taking that $1,000 and spreading out over a month is a pretty thin peanut butter sandwich. But if I can put that $1,000 all in a couple of days, I got some chunky peanut butter there. So we had this as a station policy, signed off by me, the general manager at the time. And when clients were bugging us, well, I want more promotions. Look, this is our policy. You get 10 for every $1,000 you spend in a week. You want 20 promotions? Great. Let's put that $2,000 in 1 week. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, but that's our policy. Station letterhead, signed by the GM. If we can't do enough promotional support, maybe we're doing too many. Yeah? People get confused. Sales pressure never happens in our business, right? Never happens. I was going to use it. No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to say, but it made a good picture. If we agree that it's harder to get people to want to buy broadcast because they're not calling us, then we have to agree that we never made a dollar we didn't like. Some people are still today under this buy. Do what you need to get the buy. I don't care. Just go get it. And you know what? I live in a glass house and I've thrown some stones too. But I think if we spend a little bit more time trying to create value, we may not need to just go to to buy them all the time. So how do we position promotions to make them different? Why should I buy this from you now? We have to be experts in articulating the benefits of doing business with us. If you remember the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off, there was a reason that before this session I wanted you to go through benefits and features. Because when you're talking to somebody about why they should buy you, you have to make sure that they understand the benefits of doing business with you in a non-jargonese way. Because if you don't, you've wasted your time and their time. These are some things we see, okay, 100 commercials, all in the only locally owned and operated media company. So frickin' what? Well, we're local. Guess what? Walmart pays more taxes than you do. They're not local. Okay? So you need to tell me why it's important. What is it that's important because you're locally owned and operated that makes me want to go out? And if you can't, then you need to put that into your list of 20 benefits of. Affordability versus effectiveness is really important. Should clients pay less so that we can get more people involved, or get more commercials so we charge them more? And there is no right or wrong answer. This is a discussion question. Because sometimes if things are too cheap and we get too many people participating, everybody's unhappy because, well, I didn't get any response out of this, I wasn't differentiated from my competitors. And yet if it's too high priced, people go, oh no, I'm not going to buy that, it's too much money. So it's up to you to find a balance. And you know how you do that? You test it. You test it. The peanut butter sandwich. I learned more about life from my grandmother and a peanut butter sandwich than I could ever let go. This is a good peanut butter sandwich. 24 spots a day, 7 days a week, 168 spots. That's big. How many of you ever sold one spot an hour? Okay, good. A couple of you have. For 24/7, for a week?
About a month, actually for 26 to 52 weeks.
Awesome, okay. People in television say I couldn't sell that. I don't know why not, okay. That is a good peanut butter sandwich. You start selling something like that, you have to feel comfortable that it's probably going to work. But here's the interesting thing. You know what people want? People want what they can't have. So again, I'm a big believer in visualization. Here's what 5 spots a day, 5 spots a week looks like. That's a lesser promotion. You see all these white spaces right here? That's what happens when we start lessening things that we're giving people. And there's a big difference in the coverage that you're reaching with your audience, with all these little X's on there, versus all those open white spaces. So I beg you, be strong. Go ask for big money with lots of commercials, because you and I both know that that is the catalyst to making what a client wants to have happen. Logic suggests bigger money produces bigger results. I get blown away about this. We got the one title sponsorship, and we sell that. So we got these smaller ones. Would you like one? Would you like one? Okay, I'll send you one. This happened to me with Burger King and McDonald's. These guys hate each other's guts. And Burger King, we released the promotion all at one time, and the Burger King salesperson got there first, and Burger King signed for the title sponsorship. McDonald's was angry. But the McDonald's buyer was no dummy. They said, wait a minute, let me see something here. So the title sponsorship would have included this. You got these silver sponsorships here. If I buy 4 of those, I end up with more promotional mentions. I get more, I want 4 of those. And you know what, I'm ashamed to admit this. It was like, wow, nobody ever asked for 4 of them before. Okay. So when you're out there selling promotions, let's remember that people can buy more than one. All right, we're going to talk about some of my favorite ones. No more fuss dinners on us. And I think when we do these, we make a mistake because we get all wrapped up in us. I like to suggest when you do a promotion, you start with the truth. And you know what summer in your town is like? It's hot, it's sticky. No one wants to cook at home. They want delicious food from your restaurant. opportunity. We're proud to be cooking up a special marketing opportunity called No More Fuss Dinners on Us. Why should you consider the promotion? Look how many we got a couple of you, all those in there, okay? We use some facts and figures here about how our audience eats out a what. Math value, size of the audience, the size of a stadium, times the national average of people who dine out on a daily basis. By the way, you can find that on the internet. Okay, it was 38% at that point in time. So the representative value, 26,600 people times 38% times indexing at 55% above the national average means that we were reaching 13,000 people eating out. Times the $10 ticket, we had an audience value of $133,000. Mr. Advertiser, how much of that money can you afford to miss? How much of that money would you like? And I'm always pushing about loss first, because I believe that people do more things out of fear of loss than hope of gain. We had the mechanics, what they would receive, and we sold a lot of this stuff. And by the way, if you get this, this is included in the slides that we do. Take your selfie here. Okay, I don't want you to do selfies. I want you to do clientees, please.
Morris, I'm the owner of GABCON Homes here in Gillette, Wyoming. I'm standing here in one of my modular homes. And I was just putting it out there today because I was approached about 30 days ago to do advertising with Basin Radio Network. Didn't know how successful that would be or exactly what that entailed. But we started branching out to a larger market outside of Gillette. And in the past 30 days, we've had an exponential number of people coming in from Upton, Newcastle, and Buffalo, Sheridan, Claremont, Sundance, Spearfish, and people otherwise that would never have heard of us. And so if anyone out there thinking of doing any radio advertising, we've only been doing it for 30 days. My friend Dave here is my advertising rep. He's videotaping this, and I would highly recommend Basin Radio Network if you're trying to expand your business outside of your local area. And it's also bringing people in too that actually are from here in Gillette as well. So it's worked wonders in the past 30 days. So I would highly recommend it.
Okay, gang. Look, I beg you, if any of you have testimonials, video testimonials, please send them to me, okay? Because I've been asking for like 5 years, and I think I have 2 or 3. That's all. And look at how powerful that is. When you do a promotion, and you've talked, if you were at lunch, I talked about people who are involved in, promotion or your sponsors for high school sports, talking about how great it is. You do a promotion, you're talking to these clients about how great it was to be a part of it. Do you think it would be a little bit easier to sell more people in a promotion next time around if they recognized folks that were part of this and they were telling everybody how good you were and you weren't having to do it?
Hi, my name is Jim Williams. I am the CEO and president of Tri-State Coating. I am a Rhino Shield dealer in multiple locations in Indiana and Ohio. Been asked why TV. Well, I've done TV for 15 years now. I'm a firm believer in it. Otherwise, I would not be doing it for 15 years. I like it because it gives you high exposure. It helps you develop your brand. And most importantly, it brings a return on your investment. And locally in Indianapolis, I chose Channel 13, WTHR, prominently because they have the #1 newscast in the area. I watch it personally, so I believe in it. I like the programs that they present, and so I'm thinking like-minded. I want to be in front of people like me. So I chose them for not only what my rep says is the highest ratings, but what I think is the highest ratings. And most importantly, I found over my years with TV is in newer markets typically doesn't work right away. It's something that you have to continue with the program, and eventually the benefits will reap the rewards.
Wow. This guy was a real hard nut to crack. I mean, this guy, I think if you said you won $1 million, he'd say thank you.
So how has
So anyway, we got more of those. Emotional recaps. We need to remind people what it is that we did for them. And, you know, this recap I just thought was so good, because what they did was they sent screenshots of what was online, they recapped the commercials, they actually included the commercials, they showed copies of the email blast. So when this was done, it wasn't, what did we do with you guys? No, it was, this is what we did for you. Included a copy of the schedule, attribution, they were actually able to show what happened when the commercials ran and how it affected the advertiser's website. You know how we did the pre-promotions checklist? We have a post-promotions checklist. And big thing down here again, would we consider doing this again? Sometimes we do things, it's like, you know what, I don't ever want to, if anybody ever mentions that again, we're going to hit them with a flamethrower. Customer service. Every touch point is an opportunity to get a customer to make a second purchase. So when you go to find these revenue-generating promotions, that's great. But if you aren't holding the hands of people that you sold this to, dropping in on them, sharing information, taking a look at the store or the place of business, say, you know, I think maybe we'd get more response if we moved our registration material here. Wow, I went through the aisle is right here in the butt room, and that's not a Mark Levy thing, that's a legitimate retail term, was not all that great. Butt room is simply nothing more than two people being able to pass down the aisleway back to back, their hind ends don't touch. That's a business retail concept word. Everything old is new again, and I'm a hermit, or what do you call it, a hoarder, I guess. So yeah, I actually have all these books, and you can find them from time to time up online. No, you can't have mine. But the interesting thing about this is some of these things are like 20, 30 years old, and everything old is new again. There's a car dealership that we're dealing with, and he wanted more traffic in the evening, and it's like, what can we do? And it's like, holy cow. Back in the early 80s, car dealerships used to go out to the cars that were in the front of the lot, and they would turn on the flashing yellow lights. So you come by there and you see all these flashing yellow lights, and this is not going to work. We took it to the guy and said, that's a cool idea. Visual idea. So look for these things. Look for these old books. Go to RAB. They have tons of promotions on RAB. TVB has tons of promotions. Second Street. Some of you may have heard of Second Street. Matt Cohen. He recently sold the company. However, Second Street Labs has tons and tons and tons of free promotional stuff that you can just download. And this stuff is great. It's very modern. Almost everything has a digital touch to it. Sometimes the key is to how do you put broadcast along with it. Small Market Television Exchange. I love that show. I've been blessed to be able to speak there a number of times. People share ideas on this. It's just great. Go out and find things that will get your team on the same page. And I'm going to speak to some of you who lead teams in here. It may be that some of the economic things might be team overall for the entire station. A lot of times we see sales contest, and the salespeople win. And you know what? Sometimes that drives some animosity with everybody else. Well, you know, if the engineer didn't keep the station on the air, and if traffic didn't schedule the stuff right, and if production didn't do the spot right, that schedule would have never run. And you know what? They are right. They are right. So maybe look at breaking up some things into teams. We have a couple of sellers and the engineer, and you know, an on-air personality, and a camera guy on something. They're on one team. And let's get everybody on the same page. It's amazing when you do that. Some of the people who are not in sales start bringing leads in. I've seen this, because they want to share of the, promotional pie money that you have. Have a meeting. Have a meeting with sales and program and everybody else and say, look, this is why we're having this meeting. We need everybody on the same page. We need to understand that we are a sales-driven organization. And if we don't have the sales where we need to be, then some of the things that you want, the new copier, the new traffic system, the new remote vehicle, the new camera, these things ain't going to happen. And we get real nervous. I don't want to share information because someone will go out and tell my competitor. Guess what? They know. okay? Because there's this thing called the internet, and I promise you, you're not friends with everybody at the station, and they're talking about you, and Lord knows what they're talking about, but it probably isn't all great. Maybe basing the portion of compensation on other departments. Air, talent, sales classes. We had a guy who wanted more money at the station, and I couldn't pay him anymore. And Gary was our third shift prime guy. And I said, Gary, I can't pay you anymore. But I promise you, if you start coming to our sales meetings and learn sales, you can get to be the air personality in demand for remotes. And so he did. He drank the Kool-Aid. And Gary started to be in higher demand than our morning team. Because Gary would go into a remote and he'd start talking to a client, and he understood what the client wanted to have happen and how his live mentions, his live commercial breaks could make that happen. And here's a guy who was the lowest paid in terms of compensation air shift on our station, making a huge ton of money because he was in such demand for his ability to sell and understand the sales process. That's funny. Okay, a couple more real quick. Father snows, or father mows, or mother snows, or mother mows best. Real simple. Go find a lawn and garden place. Have them give you a lawn tractor in the summertime. Make sure it's got a mower on it. In the wintertime, get a snow blade. And you're going to have people register at the place of business and perhaps register online with you too. Whatever your number of qualifiers are, maybe it's 100. On the day of the giveaway, all 100 people have to show up. You have a big circle drawn on a parking lot. And out comes the tractor with an unknown amount of gas in it, with one of your air personalities sitting on it as you go round and round and round and round. And when the gas runs out and the tractor stops, whoever it stops in front of wins. Yep. Father knows best, first knows best, or mother too. Deck your in-laws. We've all wanted to do that. At least I have. This is a little different. You're giving away a deck. You're going to give away a deck for Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever, but it's not for your parents, it's for your in-laws. And, well, what if they live in an apartment? Well, we'll cross that bridge when you come to it. They probably won't answer. But you think about it, all the, you've got your hardware store, your lumber store, your contractor, they're all getting involved in that. The diamond dig or the gold digger is fun. It's a great way to extend summer. And all this is you get a big sandbox. And people register at the jewelry store. And by the way, now is a really good time to do this because we know that most jewelry stores do 60 to 70% of their business between now and the end of the year. And with this diamond dig, they get, let's say you're going to have 100 people. Everybody gets a shovel and a bucket, and one at a time they go in there. And there are 99 cubic zirconia put in the sandbox and one diamond. So you dig and you check it out. You find, you get your one stone, and the jeweler looks at it. And if it's a cubic zirconia, you give them a couple of lottery tickets. Thanks a million for coming by. The real winner gets the diamond, and they get a setting so they can make a pendant or a ring or whatever they want out of it. If you are an urban station, you might want to call it Gold Digger, based on the song Gold Digger. If you're an oldie station, a TV station, extending summer. And you have fun with this. You get everybody dressed in beach gear and, the beach balls and that kind of stuff. Bobbing for Blake. Blake Shelton was coming to town, so we got one of those. We went to a place that sold hot tubs, and we got, you get them through Oriental Trading. The little plastic, they look like Easter egg kind of thing. And we spent a couple of nights filling all these things with little slips of paper with prizes and that kind of stuff. And some prizes were really simple, $100,000 candy bar kind of thing. And people paid $1 to bob for the tickets because the money went to St. Jude's Hospital. And they would, bob, and whatever they won in their egg, they got a prize. We had the State Highway Patrol come up and start giving us the business about, we were blocking a main thoroughfare, Route 224, and then they found out we were involved, that people were giving money to St. Jude's for this. they went out there and started directing traffic. And they started calling their buddies, or all of a sudden we all stayed out with patrol guys. We were the safest place in town. Last one we're going to talk about, and then we're done for the day. Biden K Country. And this is the best promotion I've ever been a part of. It was built out of desperation. Any of you familiar with Ohio? Okay. Ohio is the buckle of the Rust Belt. And when I was there, sheet and tube laid off thousands of workers in a day, and things were ugly. And then the recession hit, and I mean, it was just really, really ugly. And what happened was a lot of people were thinking if they wanted to get something really cool, they had to go out of town. They had to go to Cleveland or Pittsburgh. And this was bad. So we came up with this idea about buy it in K Country. Now, we use the term K Country because at this point in time, like many of you, we had a big coverage area. Youngstown, Canton, Akron. And you couldn't say buy it in East Liverpool or, buy it in Canton, because the moment you said somebody's market, everyone else got ticked off. So our thing was, if you can see it, if you can hear it, you're in K Country. So we started going to like the Chamber of Commerce presidents and the Better Business Bureau guys, and we said, look, we want your help here. We want you to cut a 30-second spot about the importance of buying local. And, we'll come up with some script ideas, but if you want to say something, okay, but you've got to tag it with, and remember, Mark Levy reminds you to buy it in K Country. And so we got, these things are rolling and they're going through promotion, through the wheel of promotions there. And one day we get a call from a client, says, I want to be part of Buy It in K Country. And it was like, you what? He goes, yeah, I want to be part of Buy It in K Country. So man was like, oh, well, certainly, we'd be more than happy to come out and talk to you about this. Like, what are we going to do? So we sat down, and we put together the promotional idea, and we go out there, and he buys it. And so he was a pretty well-known retailer in town, and pretty soon other people start buying it. And the whole thing was, you got this, you got all this support, but you had to tag your spots with XYZ, remind you to buy it in K Country. Well, guess what happens? See, we do a lot of production back then. So people would say, hey, can you do the spot for us? Yeah, sure. And we'd send it to the other stations, and you learn that the other stations didn't always pay attention to what came in, because on our competitors, people that hated us, you'd hear at least once or twice, and Barry Dotson, I'm Barry Dotson, I want to remind you to buy it in K Country. And it was great. It was absolutely great. So it keeps growing and growing and growing, and it comes time for the spring promotion. It's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And my receptionist, Trina Grimes, says, let's give away K Country cash. What? Yeah, K Country cash. Money that can be spent only at people who are participating in Buy It in K Country. And she goes, and Trina was really bright. She goes, and you know what we'll do? We'll get play money, and the $100 bills we'll put the morning team on, and the $50 bills will be the afternoon drive, and so on and so forth. It was like, you know what? That sounds pretty cool. And then she said, well, we got to do something else, Mark. And I said, what? She goes, well, if someone wins K Country cash, they can use it at the store, and then we'll go back and we'll give the store either, whatever the cash value was that they used if someone spends $100 there, or we give them 110% in trade. And I said, well, Trina will offer that, but this is going to cost us money. It's going to cost, we had big budget back then. I think we had like $10,000. In the 6 years that we ran that promotion, we never paid out $1. Everything, if they spent the K Country cash at the place of business, the store, the business, the medical place, all wanted 110% in trade. And we made money hand over fist with Buy It in K Country. You guys have been great. You're 10 minutes after. I'm sorry. I can pontificate on this all night long. I thank you all so very, very much for being here. If any of you would like the slides and you haven't already given me your business card, please do. I would certainly love to talk to you about what we might be able to do to help your stations grow revenue and people. Go now. Have a good evening, and we'll see you at the cocktail party.